And we are live for a new episode of the Electrek podcast. I am Fred Lambert, your host, and as usual, I'm joined by Seth Wincham. How are you doing today, Seth?
I'm good.
All right, big show today. We're gonna start with the Tesla Optimus fail that was really revealing last weekend. That happened last weekend, right after the podcast. But we talked a little bit about it on the show. Then we're going to talk about the U.S. EV sales, especially Tesla, following the tax credit expiration. Then Elon just updated his always useful Robotaxi timeline, but this one is a close one, so it's something to watch for the next few weeks. Then we're going to talk about Rivian's AI and Autonomy Day. So that was this week, and it was a bunch of big announcement. Then we have a few new car unveiling. Well, I mean, we've seen these cars before, but we have for the Subaru Uncharted, we have the final pricing and specs in the US. We have the new Mercedes GLB that was unveiled fully also this week. Then we're going to talk a little bit about global AV sales, and then the Ford and SK situation in the US that's going down right now was announced yesterday. All right, if you're joining us live on the show, we welcome your comments and questions. This is a live show, unedited. So if you guys have comments about anything we say, you can put them down below. If you have a question for us too, you can put Q-question, and then we're going to answer it at the end of the show. It can be about any of the topics that we're discussing today or any other topics in the EV world. I'm going to remind you later on the show as more people come into the live stream. All right, let's jump into this Optimus situation here. Oh my God, what's happening? Can I click? Let me update the page real quick. I don't know if I'm having issues with my... No, I mean, you're getting the live stream from me.
Yeah.
Fine, Set? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's not my internet. The links is not working on Electrek.
Here, maybe I'll try mine.
Like you... Oh, no, it worked. It was weird. Like the end didn't show up on my cursor.
Oh, weird.
Hanging out. Okay. So this happened in Miami last weekend. So last weekend, Tesla had something called the Autonomy Visualized event. And the goal was to, show the latest autonomous products from Tesla. So obviously FSD and Optimus, Tesla's humanoid robot. But there was a fail during the event, which the fail itself is not that important. Like, robots fails all the time. But the way it fails was really interesting because it kind of killed the old autonomy of the event. There was nothing autonomous going on with this robot here. So this is the video if you're watching live. If you're audio only, I'm going to explain it to you. But the guy walks up to the Optimus robot that was there to... I cannot rewind this.
Hit the refresh button.
Yeah. So the guy walks up to the Optimus robot, which was handing out tiny little water bottle. And as you... Oh, damn it. What's going on with this site? I don't know if it's a lag or if it's on my side, but it's when I use the StreamYard. So if I'm not on StreamYard, it goes fine. Do you want to share your window? See if
let me try
opens up yours. See if it's just really it's me or it's StreamYard. Because I mean, I was just on this article before the show a moment ago, and it was playing just fine. So it clearly is when I have the StreamYard app going on. Oh, I managed to put it on for a second.
As soon as I'm about to do mine, it usually comes into...
All right, for the people that are listening audio only, the guy approaches the robot, and the robot makes a brisk movement with its arms, and a bunch of bottles falls to the ground. And then after that, the robot brings its ends to his face in a way similar to someone grabbing a headset, a VR headset, and then as if it removes the handset, and then the robot crashes to the ground. After that, falls backward and crashes to the ground. So it looks exactly like a remote operator is operating the robot with a VR headset, and then something happens. We don't know what. And people removes the inset, and then the robot falls, like disengage, which by itself is a hazard, because like, why would the robot just fall to the ground if the person removes their headset? There should be some fail safe there that the robot just balance itself if it's disconnected. And yeah, okay, so you got it set. So,
I'm sorry, it's just funny to watch this thing. I don't know why.
yeah, it is hilarious. I posted that in so many. So my post, my article was really popular, a few 100,000 hits. But I also like retweeted the article on Twitter and with the video, and it went viral. Like got 2 million hits. And so many Tesla fans on the video like kept claiming that it was AI. It's AI. It's AI. It's not AI. Everyone, like, Tesla would have come out and confirmed it by now. There's no evidence whatsoever that it's AI in there. It happened. It really did happen. So yeah, it basically confirmed that Tesla's demonstration, despite what Elon claimed lately. Elon tried to claim that now Tesla is doing like AI demonstration of the robots. They said that when they brought it at the premiere of Tron last month, it was completely AI, which was clearly false. It was clearly pre-programmed kung fu demonstration, and then now it's still like just handing out water bottle. It's still being teleoperated. Beyond that, if you look at the video right now, at the very end, when right there, it's you would have to zoom in a little bit more to see, but it really smashes a water bottle, where the water bottle explodes as it comes down, which I think is maybe like even more important than the teleoperated stuff, which is shady in itself, because it shows that Tesla is like kind of misguiding the public into what the robot can do right now. But it shows that the weird line that you have to walk when you have a humanoid robot, where for the robot to be robust enough to be useful, it also is big and strong enough to be potentially dangerous. Like, you can imagine like a little dog or something. They can smash the dog like that, like karate chop it, and hurt the dog, or hurt even someone or a child with that. So there is a safety hazard. Like I always said, that I think Tesla can actually get to a useful humanoid robot before FSD, just because of the safety concern. Like 4,000 pounds vehicle going at high speed is extremely dangerous, more dangerous than a low-speed robot. But now seeing this, I'm like, oof, yeah, there is a real safety hazard involved here too. That's something to consider. All right, so you're gonna have to manage the the web page for that. Then,
sure.
If I'm having issues, so you didn't have any issues, you can click to. Or what browser are you in? Maybe I should switch my browser when
Chrome.
I'm using StreamYard. No, I'm on Chrome too. What's going on? All right. Next article is about Tesla sales in the US. So Tesla, based on Cox, so Tesla doesn't release monthly sales data, but we are very particularly interested in the sales data right now in Tesla in the US because of the end of the tax credit. And based on Cox Automotive's data, Tesla sold just short of 40,000 units last month, which is down 23% year over year. So it's pretty stark decline, something you would expect from the end of the tax credit. But something that I think is worth mentioning is that the decline, so I cannot read this line here. I think it's the last line before the Electrek stake. It's I compared the decline of Tesla's drop 23% versus the broader drop of the market, which is, can you see it? I cannot read it from there.
While a 23% drop looks bad on paper, it's worth noting that Tesla is actually weathering the storm better than the rest of the EV market. Yeah. Overall EV sales were down 41% in November because Tesla's decline was less severe than its competition. The company actually saw its market share increase to 56.7%, up from 43% a year ago. But we kind of knew that Tesla would fare better. They're more competitive vehicles.
That's what Elon claimed to. That's what Elon kind of paid for this to happen. Like he backed Trump with hundreds of millions of dollars. He knew this was something that would happen, and his excuse for it was like, "Yeah, I think Tesla's going to do better than the rest of the EV market without the tax credit." And so far, the evidence points to him being right about that. Now, even though he's right, is it good? It goes directly against Tesla's mission to accelerate the advance of sustainable transport and renewable energy. So that's obviously not good. The way I feel is that it feels like Tesla used the tax credit and other government incentive for electric vehicle in the US to reach volume production. And then as soon as it did, it pulled a ladder behind themselves so that others cannot use it.
Yep.
Which is bad as a whole, but also for Tesla itself is like, what's the actual end game here? Like, okay, you're the biggest fish now in what is a smaller pond. Because also what happens during that time is that the market share of electric vehicles in the US dropped to 5%. It was already not good at 10%, hovering around 10%. It shot up in Q3 at like 14% temporarily, obviously, but now it's back down to 5%. So you're just like the biggest fish in a smaller pond, while in Europe and in China, EV sales keep going up and Tesla sales keep going down. So like it doesn't seem like a smart hand game to me. All right, moving on to Tesla's Robotaxi. Tesla's Elon's Robotaxi claim. So, by the end of the year, Tesla, based on when Elon said just a few months ago, Tesla's supposed to have Robotaxi covering half of the US population. That was sort of downgraded to a few cities by the end of the year. But now it's becoming clearer and clearer that if Tesla expands to a few more cities by the end of the year, it's just going to be with his Robotaxi in name only system that is, Uber drivers using Tesla vehicles on Tesla's network with FSD as the main driving capability of the vehicle, but under the driver supervision. It's becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. So now the other goal separately to that is in Austin itself, Tesla is supposed to remove the supervisor from inside the car. So that's, Tesla fully having the first level 4 system ever once they do that. Well, not as the market, I think for Tesla, because obviously other automakers, especially Waymo, or their autonomous driving services like Waymo, have achieved level 4 already. But if Tesla removed that for the first time, they are officially caught up to Waymo on that front. But we noted that the current crash rate, even with the supervisor, is much higher than humans. So Tesla shouldn't remove that. Tesla clearly is not ready. So we didn't expect Tesla to deliver on Elon's target that, I think he said within a few months back in June, that so they're already behind that target. But now he said, roughly before the end of the year. And this week he said within 3 weeks. He said 2 to 3 weeks Tesla is going to remove, at least in some cars, he said, the supervisor. Again, I hope they don't, not because I hope that Tesla doesn't succeed. I'm saying that because I think it's a premature move, because from the very limited data that we have, and it's the best data that we ever had from Tesla on that front because of the NHTSA reporting obligation for autonomous driving, the crash rate is around 60 once every 60,000 miles, which is 10 times higher than human drivers. And that's with a supervisor in there preventing, I would have to assume, further crashes. So it doesn't make sense to me, unless something happened in the last week or two where, they have somehow accumulated millions of miles. But even then, it doesn't make sense. It looks like they are about, like, best case scenario, 100,000 miles per week with the Robotaxi service. So there's no reality where this makes sense. Either Elon is lying and they won't remove the driver, or Elon is saying the truth and they're going to prematurely remove the supervisor. I think I correctly described this.
Yeah, I don't know if I would bet on Elon telling the truth. So
yeah, I mean, also, but I would also bet on Elon doing something prematurely just to take a win for the market. So, these two things are pretty close.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna move on from Tesla just 15 minutes into the show. Is that a record for us? Perhaps. I hope that those who don't like to talk about Tesla too much are gonna be happy. Next, we're going to talk about the Rivian's AI Autonomy Day. But I want to remind you that we are a live show. And if you guys want to ask us questions, you can put them in the comment section below. We're going to answer them later in the show in about another 15, 20 minutes or so. All right. Rivian AI Day was on the 11th. That was yesterday, right? Yeah, that was yesterday. So it's basically... There was two parts of it. There was the AI part that was specifically, I mean, there's some AI going on in the autonomy front too. I don't know, Seth, if you can open the window.
Sorry about that.
No worries. There's a few videos in there that Scooter put out that are interesting, and some images, especially with the R2D2 inspired wrap on the R2. And yeah, it's there's some AI obviously in the autonomy aspect of it, but there was also clear separation from it because there was an unveiling of an AI agent now that's going to be inside a Rivian vehicle. So a lot of automakers have been integrating LLMs. So we talked about Tesla with Grok. We talked about Volkswagen with ChatGPT. We talked about the Chinese automakers. All the Chinese automakers have an AI in them now. So everyone needs that. It's the new way to interact with the vehicle. It's optional. If you don't want it, you don't use it. If you're not a fan of AI, I get that. But in a day-to-day use, I have to say that a large language model inside the vehicle is useful because it's a more natural way to interact with the vehicle. It's not you don't have to have like the exact sentence it needs to say to activate a specific function. It's a little bit more fluid conversation. So they have that. I think I read I don't know if it was in Scooter's article or if it was in the original unveiling, but I read that it's based on Google Gemini, I think.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Rivian is like really connected with Android and Google because I think the VP of software was the leader of Android for a while. All right. And then on the other side, on the autonomy side, there was a lot of unveiling. There was like the Gen 3 autonomy computer. There was the custom silicon processor. So just like Tesla, Rivian is doing its own custom silicon for the next gen Rivian autonomy feature. But the big thing is that Rivian is not going Tesla way with the vision only. The video that Seth is showing right now is very interesting. If you can go back to the video right there. So that's a very cool video that shows why Rivian is going with vision, radar, and LiDAR. And they show this video where you can see in real time from the same scene, you can see what a vision only system detects, what a vision plus radar detects, and then what a vision plus radar plus LiDAR can detect. And you can, in this higher lighting scene here, you can see it's very similar. But then in this scene, you can see the LiDAR system sees way further and way more objects than just vision. And that's in the foggy scenario here. And here is just not foggy. I think it's clear scenario, but it's dark. And you can see both the radar and the LiDAR system detects the people on the side of the road way sooner than just vision only. So there's obvious, my thing with the vision only is like, yeah, obviously, if it can work, you can work vision only. Is it going to be as safe as radar and LiDAR? Obviously, no. Why? Then you have to go back. Why did Tesla go vision only? Tesla go vision only a while back. I mean, it was gradual. Like they had the radar at first, and then they removed the radar and everything. But let's say like 2019 was basically when Tesla went like all in vision. And that was just 6 years ago. But 6 years ago, LiDARs were way more expensive than they are now. So I understand that was a cutting effort. Okay. And now Elon's argument is that it was not just a cost-cutting effort. It was that he claimed that LiDAR made the system even less safe than vision only. And that is due to sensor fusion. So he said it's difficult to efficiently and reliably fuse the input from the LiDAR sensor and the vision sensors, the cameras. And he's right. He was right back then. It was super difficult. Still is a complicated problem, but much less today. Because sensor fusion is a difficult problem that Tesla couldn't solve back in 2019 and decided not to work on it. Tesla has just not worked on it. Doesn't mean that other automakers and other companies working on full self-driving couldn't solve this issue, and they have, and especially with the advent of AI, which now handles a lot of the inputs from the different sensors. The sensor fusion is now it's a solved problem now. That's the thing, and that's why you can make the argument that when it comes to complete sensor fusion system with radar and LiDAR, Tesla is completely behind the competition. It might be a little bit ahead with vision, but they are way behind with sensor fusion, which is a problem, in my opinion. So yes, they're doing LiDAR. Apparently, they're going to introduce it late 2026. So there's things coming out this month. There's things coming out early 2026 for all gens vehicle, but especially Gen 2. But then the LiDAR stuff, which is the one that's going to enable L4, level 4 self-driving, is going to come late 2026 on the R2, and that's what we're seeing right now. If you want to show, said the R2D2 R2 Rivian, and that's the other thing that's cool too. Is like one of the things that Tesla didn't like about LiDARs was the integration inside the vehicles. Which was right. Like it was big pucks coming out of the vehicle, just didn't look good for a company that was trying to sell cars to consumers. For a company like Waymo, they don't care as much because no one's going to own the car but them. It's just about getting from point A to point B. People don't care that much about how cool the car looks. You don't, unless you want the Uber Black and everything, you don't really care what the Uber driver's cars come out with, as long as it doesn't smell bad. But yeah, so for the consumer vehicle, it does matter if the car looks sleek, and having big protrusion coming out of the vehicle with these LiDAR pucks didn't look good. But in this case, for a front-facing LiDAR, which is the most important one, obviously, Rivian was able to do a very minimal extrusion from the windshield / roof. That is not much bigger than the camera system for the vehicle, which is also just underneath it. But yeah, so that was one of the big things. The other one is, like I said, the custom silicon, which enable 1 trillion operation per second. I think it's 800 tops per chip, 16,000 total. 5 billion pixel per second processing capability. They have the Rivlink, that's a low latency interconnect technology between the two chips that are on the computer. That's a new computer that's going to come into the latest vehicles next year. What else? What else do we have here? 11 camera system. Okay, we'll already talk about the LLM. They announced the price. So the equivalent of the FSD is going to be now called Autonomy Plus. And Autonomy Plus is launching in early 2026, and it can be bought for $2,500 or $50 a month subscription. So this is the competitor, the Rivian's competitor to FSD, much cheaper, obviously. Now they're not promising like the vehicle to achieve any kind of capability like Tesla. So that's the big difference here. So they are talking about similar capabilities as FSD, and obviously the hardware suite is even more complete than Tesla's, but they're saying that they plan to have level 4 capabilities in the future, but they're not promising anything on the current hardware that they're selling. Now, when they have the LiDAR R2s next year's, that's probably going to be another thing that's going to be really the one that's going to enable that. Now, the way that they talk about it got me a little bit confused on that front. I don't know if Scooter, I had so they weren't clear. So Scooter says LiDAR is likely to be introduced in R2 next year, and future model beyond that, and the new autonomy capabilities are on the way for a fee that will include more hands-free friendly routes around the US and Canada. So yeah, the hands-free route, that's happening this month, I think, or next month, max. But that's for Gen 2 R1's vehicles. And right now, there's 150,000 kilometers or miles, I should say, available of route that do that, and then it's going to go up to millions of miles now. So that's a big upgrade already that's going on. But the thing that confused me a little bit more when it comes to LiDAR is that they said next year is going to be introduced to the R2. It's not clear if it's going to be right away, because the R2 is coming first half of 2026. And then there was some mention of more like later in 2026 with R2s. So I think that could be like a little bit of a problem in terms of some people wanting to hold up for the R2s with LiDAR. But at the same time, and I'd like to have your opinion on this, Ed, I think the demand for the R2 is through the roof already. And I don't know that everyone's going to want that. I think a lot of people just want a car that they can drive themselves and don't necessarily want the autonomous features. So I think that Rivian can sort of afford to have a delayed launch of that. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that seems right. Like, I mean, I guess why are they announcing this now versus like when it's ready? Like, I guess they want to get, the people who have the Generation 2 R1s excited and keep selling those vehicles. But like, to get the full suite of stuff, you're going to need LiDAR. You're going to want LiDAR.
Mm-hmm.
They've kind of sold it. So it's interesting. Also, Scooter notes that, this is maybe stuff that's also coming to Volkswagen. Maybe this is why Volkswagen was like, oh, we like that.
So is that his opinion, or did he say, like, was there someone saying that there?
He just says, take for example, Rivian's agree with, licensing.
Yeah.
But I would imagine.
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
But also, like, people who have Rivians now, like, they're not going to get much of this. If you have a version 1 of it, you're not getting anything. Version R1's version 2, you'll get some of this stuff, and then you got to wait for LiDAR to get all of it.
I think the R1's Gen 1, wasn't there something about the AI, though, the AI assistant you still get, I think?
Yeah, but I mean, that's
just, compared to autonomy,
it's like much. A web browser.
Yeah. So, some bad, some good, some in between. Rivian stock didn't like the event itself yesterday. The stock crashed like 8%, but then it jumped like 18% today. I think it's settled at like 13% or so, but it's way up from the event. So I think, and as it should, I think, because it shows that Rivian is not that far behind Tesla in this. In fact, in some ways, in level 4, it might even actually be closer at the consumer level than Tesla. And I think it's gonna basically ensure that the R2 program is gonna be as complete as it gets, and when it comes to like the needs of everyone, those that actually want to drive their car and those that want the autonomous features. Because we see it with a take rate of FSD. It's not that popular. Again, I think most of the value is in the full self-driving unsupervised capability, so that might be just why the take rate is not great. But I think also a lot of people just don't want to pay $100 a month for a car to drive you most of the time. It's just not that great of a value proposition. You know what that thing is going to do, though? I think that's going to drive the price of FSD down. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I wouldn't be surprised to see FSD costing $50 a month sometimes next year, once the R2 launches and everything. Because now the idea of like, hey, Tesla is the only car that can do that is like, yeah. I mean, it doesn't do what it says it's supposed to do, but sure, it's the only one that can do that. Once it's not the case anymore, it's just, it's supply, a higher supply. The demand is already saturated from Tesla when it comes to FSD. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if the price goes down either next year or even, I'm going to make a wild guess here, but the way that Tesla timed the new free trial, the new 1 month free trial last month, started late last month, it's going to end for most people before the end of the year. What if Tesla reduces the price at the end of the trial for most people when they switch, like when they take it away from them and like, hey, by the way, if you order now, it's now $50 a month, or $3,000 instead of $8,000 if you buy it outright, and they do that right before the end of the year to just boost revenue or boost even just the the take rate. Maybe they announced for the first time the take rate. Well, not the first time. In the last few quarters, they sort of talked about it a little bit more. But they can say, hey, now we have 20% of the people in the US that buy FSD, up from like 10% last year. Yeah, of course, you drop the price 50% too. But like if they can show that they went from like 5% in 23 to 10% in 2024 and then 20% in 2025, that is something that if you're an analyst, you're like, oh, that's a crazy take rate. Of course, the price again keeps going down, but it's something to look for. I wouldn't be surprised if this happened before the end of the year. All right, moving on, we have Subaru, the new Uncharted electric SUV from Subaru. So we saw that car earlier this year. Looks at I mean, I'm not showing my I cannot show my page right now. You have it, but I opened the Subaru Uncharted article from Peter, and we have a Subaru Uncharted ad on it. That's when the
that's great integration.
System,
Bravo.
yeah, great integration there. And to be fair, for people that are like, oh, you guys are bought out, like, no, it's not us. That's Google doing this by its own. So we're not getting money directly from Subaru. It's like we didn't know that ad will be there. Everything is through Google, but it looks like Google actually thought like, oh, it would make sense to push that ad there. And now the ad just changed to Polestar too. So that is good too. All right, so the Uncharted EV, the next EV from Subaru. We got the price and final specs. So you get a 74.7 kilowatt hour battery pack. For the base version, it's rear-wheel drive. And then for the sports and GT version, you have all-wheel drive with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system. It always makes me laugh a little bit when like Subaru still claims to have this, top-of-the-line all-wheel drive system when dual motors all-wheel drive are, they're not exactly the same, but they are a lot closer to each other than the mechanical all-wheel drive system in IC cars. So the Sport and GT variant gets you the Sports get you 285 miles of range. The GT give you 270 miles of range. That's pretty good. 150 kilowatt charging, 10% to 80%, 28 minutes. Not bad, but also we'd like to see a little bit more. I think 200 should be like the bottom these days. But at the same time, like this is an entry-level vehicle here because the price is the most interesting part. So, sorry, I said the rear-wheel drive is forward-wheel drive, by the way, the base version. So the forward-wheel drive starts at $35,000. And then if you want the sports version to get the all-wheel drive and the top range of 285 miles, that's $40,000. So reasonable prices. New options on the lesser... the bottom part of the EV market, because now $35,000 for a new car these days, it's like a good
it's way under average.
Yeah, 18,000 under average set, not just under average. It's $18,000 under average. It's not bad at all. And this is in dealers early 2026 in the US.
Yeah, nice interior. Like Subaru drivers, they've been kind of waiting for like a good EV. I saw this one when it was unveiled in New York City a few months ago. Over 300 miles of range. Like they're getting all the things that Subaru, the Solterra, come on. That was pretty weak sauce. Like just a bit over 200 miles of range. The Sport and GT variants delivered 285 miles or 270 miles of range. So pretty close to 300. That the high end, I think, is 308 miles. Whatever, something over 300. Pretty good setup. I think this is like the Subaru this is the electric Subaru that Subaru owners are actually going to want.
Yeah. It looks good too. Like I think it's one of the better looking crossover on the market right now, exterior wise at least.
Interior too, I think.
The two-tone orange too is especially nice. I'm sure that's an upgrade, but still it's pretty good. Mercedes-Benz has officially launched the GLB, and Mercedes is not the same company when it comes to electric vehicles than a few years ago. And 3 or 4 years ago, they've upgraded quite a bit. I have to assume that a lot of that has to do with their ownership. I think they are heavily owned by Geely now, like 20-30% or so.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Didn't know
Yeah,
that.
they're a big owner in Mercedes, and I think they are the one that's pushing them a lot to go better on electric. And this, I mean, what was the EQB? Like the EQB was kind of a disappointing, like smaller SUV. But now the GLB EV is beautiful, absolutely. I mean, in matte black, it's hard to go bad. And matte black Mercedes Benz is always sleek looking, but this is not just on the beauty level that it's nice; it's the actual spec level. So 631 kilometers, 392 miles of range. That's WLTP, sure enough, but it's still going to be over 300 miles on the EPA. That's for the GLB 250 plus. Then you have the 350 for Matic. So if you go all-wheel drive, oops, we don't have the range there. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh boy. You just dropped to 614 kilometers, 281. 11 miles of difference for the all-wheel drive. That's quite efficient. It's on an 85 kilowatt hour battery pack too, so it's not like, we've seen BMW like get these great ranges recently, but that's on like 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. So this is actually pretty efficient.
WLTP though.
Yeah,
It's probably going to be under 300.
under you think you're going to lose 80 miles of range on
Yeah,
APA?
it's a big car and it's 85 kilowatt. I mean, it's kind of like close to a Model Y.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the driving cycle for the WLTP is a little bit different in the US because, it is European, but for not just European, it's a world standard, but it's like mostly used in Europe. And there's more city driving, a little bit less highway. So that affects the range, obviously. But one of the biggest changes that they don't account for climate control too. Europeans are weird about that. Like climate control, both inside houses, inside cars, is not the same habits as the North Americans. But yeah, so I think there's a way to get close to WLTP. It's just it's a lot more lenient than EPA. Let's be fair. Oh well, who wrote this article? It's Peter. That's a Peter article. Yeah, it's Peter article. Peter did try to make his own little calculation here. And he said 330 miles. He think it's going to be on the EPA scale. All-wheel drive 320. So, I mean, I'm leaning towards Peter here, maybe somewhere in between, like 310. Also, you go upper, you go a little bit more high end here than the Subaru, and you get 320 kilowatts of charging capacity if you're on a 800-volt station, and that's going to give you 260 kilometers, 161 miles in just 10 minutes. The design, I mean, I think it's a big upgrade compared to some of the previous SUVs from Mercedes.
I mean, I'm not going to say it looks like a G-Wagon or anything, but it definitely has more G-Wagon vibe.
It's boxy. Yeah, it's boxy. The interior, I don't know. Like if you scroll down a little bit, this is like,
that's the third row.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah. You do have a third row. Option. I think it's optional.
Yep.
Then after that, you have the picture of the front seat, which you have the giant MBUX screen on this thing. Mercedes is Apple CarPlay, right? They do Apple CarPlay, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So pricing, do we have pricing on this? For those in the US, Mercedes, we will be pricing the PA closer to launch. Given the new 2026 CLA EV starting at $47,000, the JZ is to be priced a little bit higher. So yeah, probably going to be starting in the low $50,000 range, I would assume. Man, I think this is going to be a problem for Tesla. I'm going to be honest here, but because Tesla makes a lot of money from the higher end of their lineup in the US. Like in China, they cannot even sell those. Like they only sell like the cheaper version of the Model 3, Model Y. But the all-wheel drive long-range Model Y still cheap. It's going to be cheaper than this probably. But if you fully equip and everything, it's getting in the same price range. And between the iX3 from BMW and the GLB from Mercedes going electric, I think that's a lot of pressure on Tesla for the top end, because these are arguably more luxurious, more fresh looking. Like they're, Model Y is, we've seen quite a bit. This is a little bit more luxurious, more understated, less like techie, more premium, let's say. I think that's going to put a little bit of pressure on the top end of the, on the feed in Model Y. Moving on, a little bit of data on global EV sales in 2025. The year is not over, but we, almost done. So we already have a lot of data. And it looks like EV sales globally are up 21% this year. So for all the people that says like EV demand is slowing down and blah, 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 it's like, 21% increase year over year in a market like the automotive market, which is, it's such a big boat to turn around, the automotive market, a 21% increase year over year. And we're talking about 21% increase on an already large market. Like it's 18.5 million units to date up until November. So still another month left. We're gonna pass 20 million units in 2025. That's impressive. That's with PHEV, though, I think. So that's reference the European EV market. I think that includes PHEVs, also, to be honest. But PHEVs are not what they used to be. Like, especially, you have to put like BYD in there and things like that. And they sell a lot of PHEVs, but they are PHEVs that have like a more significant range than what we're used to in the early PHEV days. All right, one more news article, and then we jump into the comment section. So if you guys have questions for us, you need to put them right now. We're going to get to them in just a few minutes. I want to talk real quick about the announcement that happened, was it yesterday or Wednesday? It was yesterday. Ford and SK, well, actually, SK announced it. Ford just said no comments, but they announced a split of their recent joint venture and huge joint venture in the US to build 3 massive factories for battery cells. So that's quite a move here. So effectively what happened is that, if you remember, back in 2021, SK, which is a South Korean battery manufacturer, partnered with Ford to build 3 massive factories in the US, 2 in Kentucky and 1 in Tennessee. And the goal was to supply Ford with batteries for their ambitious electrification plans. Now, those electrification plans have taken quite a step back. And what happened is that they are basically dissolving altogether the joint partnership and splitting up the assets. So is the one in Kentucky. So yeah, Ford keeps the ones in Kentucky, which is actually just one factory because the other one was still in construction, I think. So I don't know what's going to happen with the second one, but the first one is in production, and Ford is keeping it. And then the one in Tennessee is going to SK. So basically what it allows is SK to now sell batteries from this factory in Tennessee to other automakers than Ford. So then if you extrapolate from that, it means that basically Ford is seeing its demand for batteries going down quite a bit, which is not surprising considering the scale back of the EV plans in the last few months, especially since the removal of the tax credit in the US. So really, really just bad news all around on that front. I mean, not that bad news, because I guess SK can turn around and sell that. I should mention, they specifically said, SK, that they it also enables them to sell to other automakers, but to sell to the energy storage market too, because they're producing LFP cells of that battery, which are also using energy storage. So maybe like Tesla, for example, that was looking for locally made LFP cells could buy from SK there for their mega packs and so on. So, it's not all bad. That could be a quick way to... I'm sure there's some kind of bidding war going on right now for the capacity of that plant for people that are relying on LFP cells from China, and those people are mostly Tesla right now in the US. So not all bad. All right, let's jump into the comment section.
All right. We got some early hellos. Yeah. What do you think of the future of level 2 charging? Is J1772 or NACS?
NACS.
Yep. Actually, maybe the future of level 2 charging is not even level 2. Maybe it's all DC charging. Is it going to be easier just to charge via DC? Like why have the inverter in the car? I always wondered why not just move the inverter out of the car? Like, my lawnmower, for instance, the inverter's outside. You just plug in a DC thing to it. Anyway, the future, long in the future, is going to be DC, I think.
Yeah, there's also now the home charging station that are DC, that are battery powered, like the bidirectional charging. I had an article on the SIG energy system earlier this year that I was really impressed with, and these are selling like crazy. Like I talked to Sylvain a few weeks ago, and so Sylvain is the distributor in Quebec, and I think he got like 6 or 7 systems for the first batch, and he sold them right away. And now he just ordered like $1 million worth of them, and it's all sold out already. Like they're selling like crazy.
All right. I don't care what anybody else says. The top story of the week is the revelation that the R2 will be equipped with LiDAR. I mean, in the context of Tesla not doing LiDAR, yes, that's a big deal. But like Volvos have LiDAR. Like it's not rocket science to put LiDAR.
Yeah, I guess it's one more people putting their betting that LiDAR helps. But like I said, I think it should be obvious to anyone that's been following the sensor fusion stuff. Like Elon was right that it was a problem. The only thing is like he wrongly thought that he could solve FSD with vision before solving sensor fusion. That was his only miscalculation there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I probably should have said this when we were talking about the post, but I think the idea is that you want to, like, if you're going to impress regulators and then tell people that you want to be safer than humans, right? You don't want to be as good as humans.
Yeah, I have eyes. Like that's what what cameras are basically. Like
right. But if you can
if
go
you want
beyond
it to be superhuman,
right.
If you want it to be superhuman, give it superpower, and LiDAR is a superpower.
Right. Exactly. All right. How jealous are the engineers at Tesla watching the CEO of Rivian give his team all the sensors they need for full self-driving?
Yeah. I mean, I think they're jealous of Rivian for a lot of ways. Like I'm not gonna name any names, but I've been to Rivian events and talked to Rivian employees quite a bit, and a lot of them come straight from Tesla, and it feels like those cows that have been in the winter, they're stuck inside the little, like almost a prison like situation, and then after the snow melts and they let them out for the first time, they had that energy to them. They're like, yeah, we're free with that now. We can be ourselves.
All right. Did you see Kempower and Kalmar collab? They are a leader in port equipment like electric forklift trucks and those huge straddle carriers. DP London Port installed 12 MCS chargers, first of many. I think Scrawfinkel is the Kempower PR person. So
yeah, I don't know Kalmar.
Send it to our tips line, tip at Electrek.co. They appear to be marketing the Tesla bot as a drink serving robot. So you can either spend $25,000 on a Tesla bot or get even more functionality from a $150 soda stream.
Yeah, I mean, not far. I mean, it's a joke, but it's funny because it's not that far from reality.
Right. I wonder when the genie is out of the bottle and Tesla stock crashes. Now with Rivian chip too. I know it kind of just feels like one of those things that it just keeps going. Like no matter how bad the news is, there's always just like.
But like I said earlier, I don't know if I said it on a podcast or I said it on an article or anything, but I think that the stock will. I mean, unless Tesla it works out and Tesla can increase earnings like 6 to 10 times, because that's what they need to go back to a sort of a normal price to earnings ratio. But one of those need to happen, and I think that it's going to happen once Tesla actually solves autonomy and it works in a market where there are just one competitor and scaling is not as easy as you would think, and not everyone wants to have a personal car that is self-driving, and they start to realize just what the market is going to look like in the future, where you have both self-driving ride-hailing system and consumer vehicles were self-driving to level 4. I think people are going to realize that it's not all rosy and it's all like a crazy, super high profit margin market. I think that's when they're going to come back to reality.
Yeah. All right. As soon as Tesla pulls drivers from their taxis, it will be clear that the emperor has no clothes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, if they do it sooner, if they do it too soon, it could be a problem. I like that's what I don't want. I don't want people to realize that Tesla is not what it says it is by people dying, being
Right.
it's already happened. Like we already saw like crashes related to Tesla's ADAS system, but there's always with that situation with the consumer version of it, there's always you can say that it was an abuse from the driver, which is technically true. So the blame is sort of spread out between the driver abusing the system and Tesla, mismarketing the system, leading to the driver abuse and everything. It's a murkier situation. If it's like there's no supervisor, no one in the car, and it crashes in a robotaxi, and there's someone that's hurt or dies, like all the blame is going to be on Tesla, and it's going to be bad for the company. I think that should be avoided for other reason than the fucking stock price.
Yeah. All right. Question. Croatia is ending net metering for resident solar in 2026. What to do now for best usage of solar electricity? What are the pros and cons of net metering and future of it in the world? I think net metering being gone, I think that's time to get a battery or,
Yeah.
use your car as a battery.
Yeah.
That's basically what net metering is it uses the grid as a battery. So
Still not ideal, though. Obviously,
yeah.
net metering makes sense. I don't know why they're ending. I don't know particularly about Croatia's grid, so I don't know what's happening there. But we're actually launching it net metering here in Quebec next year. So it's there's countries doing different ways. But I think even with batteries, net metering makes sense. Like if the grid needs the electricity, should be able to buy it from people producing it. It just makes sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense to kill it. Skeptic has home solar, and if you lost net metering, you get a bunch of battery capacity and essentially stay off the grid as much as possible.
Yeah, that's it. If they don't want to help you out, or let you help them out,
Right.
well, cut them off completely.
Someone claimed that during the demos, a Rivian rep said that adding LiDAR would be about the same cost as premium paint options.
Which are like $2,000.
That's a lot.
That's kind of expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that like the Hesse LiDAR from China is like $200 or something.
I'm seeing a big Afila ad push. I think that's the Sony
Honda
car. Huh.
Honda.
Interesting.
I drove it in Gran Turismo.
Oh, nice. All right. Are we going to talk about Waymo causing new traffic jams and driving into an active crime scene? I, for one, don't feel like Waymo is a finished solution, and I don't trust being around them.
I mean, the break traffic laws. That's true. I don't know if I saw the crime scene thing. I did see an abnormal number of not respecting school buses stop signs. So that's obviously a problem. It's it's not a complete product. That's for sure. It's not a finished product. You said finished solution. Yeah, if it's not a finished solution, it's still improving. But you shouldn't be worried about being around them more than being worried about being other human driver. Because statistically speaking, Waymo's data shows that they are safer than humans right now already. So that's obviously good. And humans are not always great drivers, so you should be worried about them too. That's the case. But yeah, I mean, obviously, any kind of bugs like that traffic jams. I'm not sure. I do remember like the two Waymos that were like doing the Spider-Man meme real time. So that was interesting. But yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of room to improve. That's for sure.
All right, L2 is important because it's much more kind to the grid. If people all relied on EVs and DC fast charging, it would be a massive problem. Yeah, no, I'm not saying so you can charge. I mean, when everything's super smart, I think you can have a car charge at 3 a.m. at full speed. That would be great. Like, so it's really not about the speed or the grid. It's more about having the ability to go to a high charge rate.
Yeah.
And the DC, like I'm just talking about DC, and instead of having AC in the car and an inverter in the car, you can have that on the wall or wherever, or hopefully you don't even need AC. You're getting DC from your solar or batteries or whatever. All right. If EVs are the future, i.e. same car count, but all ICE become EV, which won't work with deep decarbonization, then the grid's energy availability would dictate when and who is charging slowly. Not sure what the point is there.
Deep decarbonization, talking about batteries, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how successful is Electrek? Approximate number of readers, listeners, podcasts. In other words, how big a reach do you have? I think we're like top 10. I mean, we're talking about the podcast. I think we're the top 10 podcasts. Last time
for cars, yeah.
Yeah, for cars.
The podcast reach, I mean, the live video between all the platforms, like the live and then after fact the videos, it's like maybe like 5,000 people or something like that. But then the audio only were way bigger than that. I think, what was it, like 40,000 download or something like that per episode per month?
It's weird because it's hard to follow that stuff because like you have the Chartify, which has Spotify numbers, but then you have to look at Apple. So everybody kind of keeps their numbers closer to chest.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get, I think we're 6 figures of audio only listeners every year.
Yeah. And then the website itself is way bigger now, in millions of monthly readers on the Electrek website.
All right. Who are you kidding? Tesla will never solve self-driving before they go under.
I don't know about that. It's going to be pretty hard to get Tesla to go on there. Yeah.
Do you think anyone else than Alpatronic has a shot in the U.S. market? ABB and others are vanishing. That's weird.
Well,
I just got invited to go to Daytona 500 by ABB, so I don't know. Hopefully that invite's still good.
What are they doing at the Daytona 500?
They have an electric part of that.
Okay. Are you gonna go?
I think so. It's in February and it's in Florida, so.
Oh, you're often in Florida in February, yeah. All right. We have our Scrunfinkel Ken Power fan. That's also, I think Ken Power is going to be a big competitor in the U.S. market. They are bigger in Europe right now, but they have great hardware.
As a pedestrian or cyclist, you cannot make eye contact with an AV to make sure that they see you and your intention to proceed through a crosswalk.
No, you can. Well, I mean, you cannot make eye contact, but now there are some vehicles that do recognize hand signals. So if you do a stop or you do a let through, they will recognize it and act accordingly. So I guess you're not technically making eye contact, but they'll see you and they'll try to interpret what you're doing. Which is not always great with humans too, to be honest. There's plenty of situations where I like go ahead and they're like, no, you go ahead. I'm like,
all right. The Rivian engineer's LiDAR cost similar to a paint option was about the $2,500 RAP plus price, not the LiDAR unit cost per car. So I guess that's the whole suite plus software at $2,500.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What's the fastest DC chargers in the USA? In Europe, there are more and more 350 kilowatt or even stronger. I think we have megawatt chargers.
There's 1,000 kilowatts now in China. I saw several of those stations in Shenzhen last time I was there. In the US, it's 500, the biggest one.
I mean, for cars, yeah, but I think trucks are megawatts and more.
There's a few megawatt stations for trucks now. Yeah, I mean, it's happening. It's people don't know the level of complexity that goes with deploying a public DC fast charging station. There's so many things that need to happen at once. I mean, that's where you have to give Tesla its flowers. Like, they really nailed that process better than anyone on the planet by a mile, which is why we were so shocked when Elon Musk fired the entire team that made that happen.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, the best thing their company has ever done is deploy the best charging network by far, and because you're just a little, big ego, knee-jerk reaction guy, because you have a disagreement with, firing part of the team with the leader, you decide to fire the entire team. It was such a bad decision.
Well, the leader of the team, she wanted to save like her employees, and he was like, no. and shows
employees who have demonstrated their
Right.
incredible value to Tesla by deploying the best charging network in the world at the most efficient price and the best rate than any other automaker. And she's just out there defending her team. It's like, we are bringing more value to Tesla than probably any other department.
Did we ever figure out where
there.
she went? Did she get like a job at Rivian or something?
Uber. She went to Uber.
All right.
She was the head of reliability at Uber for a year or two, and then she was promoted earlier this year to she's the head of Uber Freight now.
Nice.
I guess promoted. I don't know if it's a promotion, but yeah. All right. That's it for this week's episode of Electrek Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please give us a like, a thumbs up, a subscribe, whatever it is on the app you're watching. It's free to do, and it helps the show more than you think. And we're going to see you same time, same place next week. We have